Hello, my name is Kyle Colmia, and I'm here to present today Manage Your Money, part of the FYI Workshop Series from the Student Success and Opportunity Center at OSU OKC. A lot of this information that you're going to hear today is brought to you by Oklahoma Money Matters. I've included their website here at the bottom of each screen, so you can access that at any time you would like. However, today we are going to focus on budgeting. So we're going to start off by talking about what exactly is a budget and setting up a budget. I'm going to show to you guys this short YouTube video here, if I can open it, that defines exactly what a budget is.
Buckle Down Finance presents Budget. Definition: an estimate, often itemized, of expected income and expense for a given period in the future. In modern terms, a budget is a plan to spend less than you make each month. So let's build a sample and see what a budget looks like. We'll create two columns. Let's start by entering the median U.S. income from last year, which was roughly $50,000 per year, equating to $4,167 per month. Next, we'll enter some common expenses. If we add these up, we have a total of $4,400. Remember, if you manage your budget on BuckleDownFinance.com, this would be much easier, and calculations are done automatically. So we make $4,167 per month, and spend $4,400 per month, meaning we're spending $233 more than we make. This is crazy. We're broke. There's two ways to fix this problem. Either increase your income, or decrease your expenses. Let's take a look at our expenses first. The first few are pretty solid and not easy to change. But we then arrive at entertainment and recreation, then clothing. Those two categories total $750 per month, so we can definitely trim some spending there. Here's where your life changes for the better. Take a look at why your entertainment and recreation costs are so high. Are you going to the movies every week? Do you have a gym membership? Partying too much? And don't forget clothing. Are you spending too much money on shoes and purses each month? If so, it's time to cut it out. Just reduce those two categories by 35%, and you'll have a balanced budget each month, and even a few extra dollars for something else. It's not that hard to have a healthy budget. You just need to live within your means. Brought to you by Buckle Down Finance.
All right, so that shows us kind of exactly what a budget looks like. However, you might say budgets are boring or they're restrictive, or maybe you're a student so you don't have too many bills right now. However, everyone really needs to set up a budget so you know how much you're spending and you can start saving. So getting started on setting up your budget, if you haven't already done so, is just a few simple steps. It's definitely starting out by identifying your monthly income. So whether this be through loans right now or through work, make sure you know exactly how much you're taking in each month so you can evaluate your expenses. We have easy expenses and then we have hard expenses. The easy expenses are going to be fixed. So these are going to be expenses that you know that you have to do each month. So say rent, car payments, cell phone payments, things like that you know are coming each month. Hard expenses are a little bit more difficult to evaluate because they're non-fixed. There's things like going to the movies, paying for shoes, maybe paying for an emergency, something that came up. That's why when you're setting up a budget, it's important to do a 3-month average, and then which means that you write down pretty much everything you spend for 3 months, and then you can kind of average out how much your hard expenses are. If you're going to start setting up your budget soon, I would maybe wait until after the holidays to start averaging what you're spending, just because you are going to be spending more in these last coming months of the year. But once you've kind of got your average expenses for each month, then you can create categories. These categories are going to be like savings, bill payments, housing, entertainment. And I'll show you kind of more what that looks like when we look at an online budgeting system at the end of this presentation. And then it's also always important to make sure that we're creating a savings category because that's going to be where you put your money in for savings for the future. And again, here are some resources that are online that allow you to actually just type in your monthly budget and it evaluates it for you. Again, I'm going to show you one of those toward the end of this presentation. Okay, so getting through college on less. This is an important thing to do because while you're in college, your main focus needs to be your schooling. So once you graduate, then you may be able to get that higher paying job, but for now it's important to kind of budget. So food. Well, we all have to eat. It's important to make sure that you're not spending too much on food. So make sure that you're making grocery lists and you're sticking to those lists, or you're using coupons, or if you have a meal plan, definitely use it. Try not to spend too much by just randomly going to the food court or the vending machine often, because that does add up. Transportation. Definitely don't forget to budget in transportation because we all have to get places from point A to point B, especially on our campus, which is a commuter campus. So just remember that you're going to be having to fill up for gas more often, and maybe know a great gas station to go to that usually has less, that charges less, or make sure that, again, that you're budgeting in that gas when you're creating your monthly budget. Entertainment. I like this phrase that all work and no play makes for one unhappy student. However, you want to make sure that you're not spending too much on entertainment. So again, make sure that you budget for that entertainment so that you know that you can afford to do it. So when boredom strikes, you can always look for free entertainment. Sometimes there's free movies downtown, or we have movie nights here on campus. There's a lot of concerts and community events going on as well. So it's always important to look for those first. Furnishings. When you're decorating your place, you obviously need furnishings. So going to places like thrift stores or online sites like Craigslist, those are great places to find cheaper items of furnishing that are usually gently used, and you can get them at a cheap price. So make sure you're not splurging too much on places like Pottery Barn or places that up their payments. And same thing with clothes. We all have to wear clothes, and we all can get interested in the fashions. However, just make sure that you're budgeting in for clothes, or that you're able to find deals for clothing. So again, just making sure that it's not necessarily a priority right now to be purchasing as many clothes as possible, but that once you're through college, then you can kind of work on your wardrobe a little bit more. All right, so start saving. Again, I want to reiterate the fact that you need to make sure that you're adding in a savings category into your budget. Make those savings automatic. If you do online banking, which is very easy to set up, you just have to contact your bank, then you can make sure that they withdraw a certain amount of savings each month. And this could be as little as $20 each month or as large as $300 each month. It's kind of up to you. But it automatically does it for you so you don't spend it before saving it. Adjust your withholdings. So if you're filling out your W-4 form or your tax returns, make sure that everything that maybe has changed in your life, like a marriage or children, is updated, and that way it's not going to affect how much you owe for taxes. Cutting corners. So again, if you save $20 per week by bringing your lunch, then you can always put that into your savings account. Or again, things like going to discounted movies or renting DVDs versus buying them. Reducing your monthly fees. Also making sure maybe there's places that you're not spending too much on those monthly fees. That would be under the categories of like entertainment. So are you spending too much for TV? For maybe a gym membership that you don't necessarily use as much? Where, again, can you cut these corners? And then also making sure that you have windfall money. This is actually a very good advice that I had to learn my lesson on, is that we all get raises at certain points, or we may all start making more money at certain points. However, if you start making more money and then you spend more money, it actually is going to equal out to not saving more money. So make sure that when you have a raise or you're starting to get more of an income, that you're putting that into your savings instead of just spending it right away. I like here that it says, in the long run, it'll be worth it. Making payments to yourself. If you have loan payments, make sure that you're paying the balance in full, and then use that money to make regular contributions to your savings account. And then keeping your eye on the prize. This is always really important. Just making sure that you know what your goal is, which is hopefully to graduate college and to move on to the next phase in your life, and that your goal will get you someday to the position that you want to be in. And again, kind of on the same lines, invest today for your wealth tomorrow. So making sure that you're thinking of your future and you're thinking of retirement and things like that, and that your savings account will go into how you will live as a retired person. Okay, so this chart, these two charts that I'm about to show you are going to show you what it would look like if you started saving right away versus if you delayed saving. Oops. Excuse me. Okay, here's the first chart. So this shows you the age that you're at, and then how much you would save if you saved this much per week up until you were 65. So if you're 20 years old and you start saving $10 a week, you can save up to $85,000 by the time you're 65. But if you wait until you're 50, you can only save about $11,000. So this is kind of what that shows you here. Now, this is a cost of delay chart. So this is showing you if you waited each year, how much you would actually not lose, but how much you would not save. So if you're 20 and you wait until you're maybe 21 to start saving $10 a month, you would actually lose $4,500 a year, as opposed to saving the $85,000 until you're 65. So you can kind of see the difference of although it may just seem like you're saving $10, how much you're really going to save in the long run. All right, so having a credit card. Credit cards are kind of a double-edged sword because they're both good for building up credit, which is important if you ever want to purchase a house or purchase a car or anything with a loan attached to it. However, you want to make sure you're managing your credit correctly. So choosing the correct credit card is really important. So you want to do one that doesn't charge an annual fee, one that has a low fixed interest rate, so meaning not one that's going to charge you a lot of interest, and one that has clear explanations of their fees for late payments or courtesy services, etc. You can compare credit cards at websites like these below and see which one might be a best fit for you. Now, when you're managing your credit, there's a couple steps that are important to take. First of all, you want to make sure that you're paying your credit card in full and on time, so you're not having any late charges and you're not paying less than the amount requested. And also that you're making more than the minimum payment if you can. So if your credit card payment each month is $50, maybe you can actually pay $60 and pay it off more quickly. It's also important to have a repayment plan, so make sure that you're having your repayment of your credit cards added into your budget and that you're planning out how you're going to repay. And also keeping your debt low. Just remember, the more you use your credit card, the higher your debt is going to be and the more interest it's going to charge you. So try to keep your debt as low as possible. And also limit your new credits. So don't necessarily go and get a new credit card if you max out your old one. Make sure that you're just managing one credit card for the most part, instead of having a bunch of different ones. That's actually only going to complicate your expenses, and you'll end up paying more than you really need to. Okay, so kind of switch over to student loan management, kind of similar to credit card management. However, loan management, there's a couple steps that are important to take. So before borrowing, just make sure that you know that you can't maybe get free money instead. Free money would be in the form of scholarships or state or national type of loans. So that's going to be like OLAP, OSAP, and Pell Grants. Borrow only what you need, only what you need. That way you don't have so much to pay off when you're done. And then keep your future career in mind. So if you're going back to school to be a teacher, what is that salary going to look like and how will you be able to pay your loans back versus if you're going back to school to be an accountant or a lawyer. During school, just monitor your needs. Keep seeking that free money. That's always good. And then take interest in your interest payments. So again, kind of going to this step and thinking about what you're going to do after graduation to repay. So thinking about your payments, adjust your budget. Remember, you always want to add to your budget your payments. That includes loan payments. So adjust your budget to include your monthly student loan payment, pay on time, and also just keep copies of important documents because this is federal money. So just make sure you're keeping the documents in case anything comes up. Okay, so we're going to look at a budget calculator. This is what Oklahoma Money Matters budget calculator looks like. It's actually something that I personally use and I think is very, very helpful. So we'll just we'll click on this link here, and I'll show you exactly how it would work. Let me pull it up. Maybe take a minute. Okay, so this is what your budget calculator would look like. Here are your categories here on the left-hand side, but it's important to enter your monthly net income right away. So say we make $2,000 a month. Well, here we have $2,000 and we have a remaining balance of $2,000. We haven't spent anything yet. Here's our savings. So this is where we would add in emergency, retirement, college, anything that you're saving for would be in this category. Then we go into housing. This is where you can add in your rent or your mortgage. Say you pay $600 for rent, then it's going to take away that in the remaining balance down here. Then under here is where you would put utilities, electric, maybe you pay $100, natural gas, maybe you pay $100, etc. Then we can add in our cell phones, our home phone, our internet, and things like that. Debt payments, this is where you would add in your credit card debt payment. So if we have a credit card, we pay $50. That is, again, going to take out of our remaining balance. And then here is an important category. Again, remember to always budget for entertainment. So dining out, maybe you do $100 a month. Maybe you used to do $200 a month, and you realized maybe you couldn't really afford that. So you had to go get it down to $100 a month. So things like that that you can put in here, health and personal care. It's important to make sure you're doing in beauty treatments, hair, fitness, anything like that, and also family obligations. So if you have anything with, this will come up here in a second. Child care, support, babysitting, anything like that. So once you've added up all of your expenses for the month, obviously we would have more than this, but then you can click View Final Budget, and it will actually total it for you into a nice little sheet here that you can either print or you can export to Excel. Looks like maybe it's not going to do it for us exactly today, but if you do export it to Excel, okay, well we'll just I'll let you guys kind of play around this on your own, but if you do export it to Excel, then you can actually keep track of it on your own and save it to your own files. So again, this is a really cool resource to use where you don't have to build your own budget management system. Okay, I want to end this workshop by showing you another YouTube video. This is a TED Talk by Daniel Goldstein. It's called The Battle Between Your Present and Your Future Self. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but we're going to catch the end of it where he talks about thinking of our future selves more in the financial sense.
People can understand that the investments and savings that they undertake today determine their well-being in the future. Now, people are motivated through emotions, but different people find different things motivating. This is a simulation that uses graphics, but other people find motivating what money can buy, not just numbers. So here I made a distribution builder where instead of showing people numerical outcomes, I show people what those outcomes will get you, in particular apartments that you can afford if you're retiring on $3,000, $2,500, $2,000 per month, and so on. As you move down the ladder of apartments, you see that they get worse and worse. Some of them look like places I lived in as a graduate student. And as you get to the very bottom, you're faced with the unfortunate reality that if you don't save anything for retirement, you won't be able to afford any housing at all. Those are actual pictures of actual apartments renting for that amount as advertised on the internet. The last thing I'll show you, the last behavioral time machine, is something that I created with Hal Hirschfield, who was introduced to me by my co-author on the previous project, Bill Sharp. And what it is an exploration into virtual reality. So what we do is we take pictures of people, in this case college-age people, and we use software to age them and show these people what they'll look like when they're 60, 70, 80 years old. And we try to test whether actually assisting your imagination by looking at the face of your future self can change your investment behavior. So this is one of our experiments. Here we see the face of the young subject on the left. He's given a control that allows him to adjust his savings rate. As he moves his savings rate down, it means that he's saving zero when it's all the way here at the left. You can see his current annual income, this is the percentage of his paycheck that he can take home today, is quite high, 91%, but his retirement income is quite low. He's going to retire on 44% of what he earned while he was working. If he saves the maximum legal amount, his retirement income goes up, but he's unhappy because now he has less money on the left-hand side to spend today. Other conditions show people the future self, and from the future self's point of view, everything is in reverse. If you save very little, the future self is unhappy, living on 44% of the income, whereas if the present self saves a lot, the future self is delighted, where the income is up close near 100%. To bring this to a wider audience, I've been working with Hal and Allianz to create something we call the behavioral time machine, in which you not only get to see yourself in the future, but you get to see anticipated emotional reactions to different levels of retirement wealth. So for instance, here is somebody using the tool, and just watch the facial expressions as they move the slider. The younger face gets happier and happier, saving nothing. The older face is miserable, and slowly, slowly we're bringing it up to a moderate savings rate, and then it's a high savings rate. The younger face is getting unhappy. The older face is quite pleased with the decision. Okay? We're going to see if this has an effect on what people do. And what's nice about it is it's not something that's biasing people, actually, because as one face smiles, the other face frowns. It's not telling you which way to put the slider. It's just reminding you that you are connected to and legally tied to this future self. It's your decisions today are going to determine its well-being, and that's something that's easy to forget. This use of virtual reality is not just good for making people look older. There are programs you can get to see how people might look if they smoke, if they get too much exposure to the sun, if they gain weight, and so on. And what's good is, unlike in the experiments that Hal and myself ran with Russ Smith, you don't have to program these by yourself in order to see the virtual reality. There are applications you can get on smartphones for just a few dollars that do the same thing. And this is actually a picture of Hal, my co-author. You might recognize him from the previous demos. And just for kicks, we ran his picture through the balding, aging, and weight gain software to see how he would look. Hal is here, so I think we owe it to him as well as yourself to disabuse you of that last image. And I'll close it there. On behalf of Hal and myself, I wish all the best to your present and future selves. Thank you.
All right, so that's just kind of putting some emotions behind budgeting, and it may seem like a lot of numbers, and and spreadsheets, but really it's about making sure you're thinking of your future selves and how you can retire on what you've saved. Okay, that ends our workshop. I always like to end with this inspiring quote by Kenneth Blanchard in regards to committing to school. So there's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in doing something, you do it only when it's convenient. If you're committed, though, you accept no excuses, only results. And again, you have, this has been brought to you by the Student Success and Opportunity Center at OSU OKC, and here's our websites. Hi, I am Kyle Colmia. I'm the director of the center, so definitely come and visit us whenever you feel like you need help. Thanks.